This is Tayla Holt with the Maroon Devil Network. I'm here with Superintendent Mr. Mark Sale. Mr. Sale, thank you for being with us today. What makes Swain County unique as a community and a school district?
We're unique because of where we sit. We're kind of not really in an urban area at all, but we're not so remote and rural that we have absolutely no connection with some of those more urbanized areas. It just takes a little longer to get there. That creates a unique feel. The community is unique in that we have strong traditions that are tied to family, to the land. Our history as a county plays into that as well quite a bit, particularly the fact that a lot of our land has been taken by the federal government to use for other purposes. In case in point, the Forest Service, TVA in the lake, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And so that reduces the population density in a lot of ways. All of those things come together to make us a community that's unlike any other in western North Carolina and maybe in the state. Now, as a school district, we're unique because we have the largest percentage of minority students of any school system in western North Carolina. And that takes a lot of people by surprise until we think about the fact that 27% of our student population are Native American. So that shifts that percentage pretty quickly. We're way over 35% minority. Even the school systems in Henderson and Buncombe County and in that direction don't have that number of minorities. I could go on and on about the uniqueness of our school and our community, but the thing that ties all of those together and makes us unique is that in so many ways we feel like family. We develop relationships that are lifelong. The bonds that we have from student to student, student to teacher in the community, those bonds are thicker than most people would understand unless they live here. It also takes a little while to develop those bonds because of our rural nature. But we truly are family. We get along like family. Sometimes we don't get along like family. That's one of the pieces that I love about Swain County, though.
Thank you. As a follow-up, what are some of the challenges that you think we will face in the near future with our school district?
A challenge for the school district is in the fact that we're seeing a cultural shift across the nation that is bringing students into the school system with greater levels of anxiety and stress, discouragement perhaps, and frustration. And it's not the student's fault, and I would hate to lay it at the feet of the parents or at the feet of the family, but what we're seeing is an increased need to support students emotionally so that they can achieve the learning that we have almost taken for granted in the past 25 or 30 years. It's creeping into Swain County maybe more slowly than other areas. You know, if you're going to downtown Charlotte, where there's a very high urban influence, it has already created some significant shifting there. But we're seeing that, and it's something that we are working towards accommodating for by bringing in more counseling, by training our staff to deal with that. We're also struggling sometimes with a student population that doesn't always understand the vital importance of education. Because in Swain County, to get a job that on the world market is high paying, you have to leave Swain County, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing to live here. It's just that there's a different economic status here. And that's another piece as a community I believe that we need to address and look at. Because if we don't pay attention to the economic status of Swain County and take intentional steps to address that, we're going to see our students struggle more and more to have a goal for later in life.
Thank you. I also heard you say that in your first answer about Swain Family.
Yes.
We've had a couple other slogans throughout the years, Our Best and Then Some, and then Swain family, of course. What can you say these slogans mean to you?
Our best and then some has a unique meaning to me because that's been around for decades. As a matter of fact, most people just assume that that's our mission or our vision or our motto for the entire school system. And I wouldn't say that the people who believe that are incorrect. So it has a strong history attached to it. And it really is an interesting slogan or motto, in that what it is stating is whenever you are a part of the Swain school community, we are asking you to do your absolute best in everything that you do, and then try to do more. It's like going into extra innings in a baseball or a softball game. Another slogan that we've had, and it came into play when Mr. Tayla was superintendent, was Maroon Strong. And what that is saying is that there are qualities that are ingrained in being part of the Maroon Devil Nation that we have often taken for granted, which has to do with family and tradition, which has to do with not giving up and having resilience. And we've seen some of that erode over time. And what Mr. Tayla was saying in adding that particular hashtag is that we really need to focus on being strong the way we have always been. And then I helped start the hashtag Swain Family. And that's because, above all things, if we're going to do any of those, we've got to learn how to work together as a group. Our culture in the world, America, North Carolina, is becoming more and more individualized. And it's less about what's good for you or what's good for us, and rather we consider then what's the benefit for me. And what I want us to think about is, the benefit for me is important, but I need to take care of Kayla before I take care of myself. So let's be family and do that.
Thank you. So another question is, what is your plan for Swain County school system?
I thought about this a lot over the last year as I came in as superintendent, and it was my first year. And people say whenever you're coming into a new leadership position that one of the things that you need to do is just kind of sit back for a year or so and decide, okay, so what's going on and what needs to happen, where are our strengths, where are our places to work. And what I noticed is that in order for us to achieve some of the academic goals that I believe that we need to achieve, we need to be focusing on the growth of every single student, and every single student needs to grow at least 1 year's worth of expected learning in every class. Now, what that does is it throws us into some considerations in the classroom, because not every classroom, not every teacher has ever thought, so how much do I want my students to grow in a year? A lot of times we've just tried to cover the curriculum. And I guess that's fine, but there's another level for me. And the other level is, how much do I want my student to progress under my instruction so that the next school year or the next year in their life, they're prepared to be successful at whatever they're going to do. A good example is you, Tayla. If I'm not mistaken, you're a senior, yes? Yes. Okay. So for the last 13 years, through all of the education that you've received, both at the charter school and through Swain County schools, right? Every year you have accumulated knowledge and skill and thinking ability, and finally, we're going to release you with everything that we could do into the world, which is much larger than Swain County. And see, the question for us is Tayla Holt ready? Is she ready? And I'll be truthful with you, Tayla, it's too late for us to ask that question about you. Yeah. Because you've got just a few months left with us, unless I do something drastic to keep you another year here. And I think you'll be pretty upset if I did that, right? Yeah. We need to think about that whenever our students are kindergarten or pre-K. Are they growing enough every single year so that whenever Mark's grandchildren are old enough to graduate like Tayla is, they'll be ready to face whatever the world has to offer. That's what I see that we need to focus on. And I could talk about all other kinds of pieces that go along with that. But that is the root goal. Every student needs to be ready for what's coming in their future. That's our job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tayla.
This has been Tayla Holt with the Maroon Devil Network. Have a nice day.